welcome back to another episode of the Buffalo Happy Hour. Mike, what's up, dude?
Non-stop. This is the last recording before vacation, so it's grind season. We have something...
It's not the last time you'll see me before vacation, though.
We're recording 3 times this week.
Correct. And then 3 times next week. 2 times next week.
2 times next week.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot, but there's a lot going on top of it. So we're basically just coordinating our schedules so that, once again, if we ever take a quote-unquote break, no one knows the wiser.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more work, obviously, for us to coordinate and plan logistics and stuff and things. But, yeah, we're here.
So... are you the type of person that likes to have what is your ideal work schedule? Do you like to grind one day, off another day? Do you like to grind one week, off another week? Or do you like the whole Monday through Friday, off Saturday, Sunday, every day, all day, 365?
I would do Monday through Thursday.
Yeah.
I would work longer hours and pull a 4-day work week opposed to a 5-day work week of normal 8-hour shifts.
How long do you normally work now? Like, what is your work schedule like now? Do you work 8 hours a day or do you work 10 hours a day?
8.5. And it also depends on the day. Some day it might be longer. It might be 9. But yeah, I basically like to just kind of stick to 8. And then if it's 8.5, then whatever. But I never stop and then take a lunch break where I don't work for half an hour or an hour. Like, I just work through lunch. Unless, I get like pulled to go to lunch or something like that. But like...
How do you eat then, bro?
At my desk.
Big boys gotta eat.
Yeah, I just pack my lunch, bring it to work, and sit there at my desk and eat and work.
Do you ever go out to lunch?
Sometimes, but it's not like, oh, it's Friday, let's go out to eat. Like,
when was the last time you had fast food?
Fast food?
Yeah, like McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Arby's. First of all, what's your favorite? If you had to choose one fast food place, what would be your favorite?
Probably Wendy's.
Yeah. Why?
Their burgers are just better to me, and I love Frosties. So everybody else can pound salt. Obviously, you're never going to get ice cream at McDonald's, and then Burger King.
The ice cream machine's always down.
Right. And
there's a site that tracks that. Do you know that? Like, you can log in to see if the ice cream machine by your house at the McDonald's there is working.
It's never working.
Why? Is it because it's plastic? The ice cream is plastic?
There's a guy, I actually watched a video on this because I don't know how it came up, but I learned that the ice cream machine that McDonald's uses franchise-wide has techs to fix it. And it's like the cream of the crop ice cream machine from Europe. So essentially, anytime these things go down, it's a loop, swoop, and pull to get these things fixed. And they got to bring somebody in, and nobody cleans them the way they're supposed to because it's McDonald's and you just keep working. So...
why would they invest in the cream of the crop ice cream machine?
They want a good.
If they're a burger place.
Yeah, but they want a good quality. So they want a good quality ice cream. They want a consistency.
This is why people need to get paid $15 an hour to serve burgers.
Sit down. So with that, it basically they invested in these machines, and then it basically just never worked out for them because it was a logistical nightmare to fix all the machines because they never get cleaned properly. And to clean them, it's a bear because you have to totally disassemble it, clean it, and reassemble it, and you're 15, 16 years old at McDonald's, you don't care, like...
barely clean your room.
Exactly. So, yeah. Also, on the way here, I was driving behind a bus. School was getting out, like the elementary schools. So, the interesting thing about that was you could see the kids, like, stare at you in the back, kids being kids. And I was kind of chuckling because I was listening to Anthony Jeselnik, who will get a shout out, although 1,000% not a sponsor, and he would never be a sponsor because it's Anthony Jeselnik, and he would just laugh and be like, that's not worth my time, was talking about how he read or heard a story about a mortician that married a woman, and the woman was a virgin, waited for marriage, and they finally get married, and to consummate the marriage, he made her get into a bathtub full of ice for 20 minutes, get out of the bathtub, and then lay perfectly still to consummate the marriage.
So like he was having sex with the dead person.
As a mortician.
Jesus
so
Christ.
He's making that joke. I'm cheering down my face, crying, laughing at this joke because he's so nonchalant about it. And he goes, you guys can do the research and fact check me, but I've definitely heard it somewhere. And I'm staring at little kids who have no clue the atrocities that occur in this world. And it all came full circle. Like, I'm driving behind a bus. Anthony Jeselnik is talking about consummating a marriage with a virgin who doesn't know the wiser by getting into a cold bathtub full of ice to literally mimic what happens at work. I was just crying, laughing. That to me was one of the funniest things that's happened in months.
So I got a question for you.
Shoot.
How did this tie into fast food?
No, I would never do that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
No. How does it tie into fast food? Because of the kids? Yeah.
No, it
Oh.
literally, there's no correlation whatsoever about that.
Welcome to Buffalo Happy Hour, everybody. No correlation to literally
Give me the
anything. So today we're going to be talking about whatever's on our mind. Clearly, we've already started this without giving you any structure, and
We're
that's
fine.
going to continue.
We're fine.
We're also going to be drinking 3 Chords Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey.
Got that?
Yes, that is finished in Pinot Noir barrels. So we'll talk more about this in a little bit, but this has to be one of my favorite expressions from 3 Chord. It is delicious.
Pass it over here like a man, would you?
I don't want to spill it, bro.
It's called.
Strange collaboration.
Yeah, thank you. I was like, where is it?
Are you
I was
struggling
looking,
with that too?
I was.
Okay,
I was.
perfect.
I was looking down when it's on the top.
You know what we
label.
should do? We should start a podcast. We're such eloquent speakers. Jesus, dude. You want to pour the whole bottle in there?
Listen,
Wow.
Today was a difficult day. All right.
Why? First of all, when was the last time you had fast food? To bring us all the way back. When was the last time you had fast food?
My last,
Can't just skip questions.
the last time I went to Fort Drum with the Army, we stopped at Port Byron, and I got a egg burrito, breakfast wrap, and a yogurt parfait from McDonald's. I got 2 egg burrito wraps and the yogurt parfait.
I feel
and
like
that was the last thing I had ever.
I feel like their
McDonald's.
breakfast isn't as unhealthy. Is that just perception, or is
You
it?
can-
Do I feel like it's true?
You can make a horrendous breakfast choice option at McDonald's. However, Dude,
I honestly-
McGriddles.
The last time that I went to McDonald's, it has to be at least 4 years ago. Or any fast food place. I don't do fast food, which,
I
judging my physique, you probably would think, yeah, you do, Derek. You're lying to us.
No, you just eat pizza.
Correct.
The
Is pizza fast food?
the
It's
only
not, right?
no, it's not. The only time that I would have fast food is when we would go to that restaurant for the Army,
Mm-hmm.
and then on the way home because you had MREs for multiple weeks,
Right.
and you need the grease to clear your pipes. So that's the only reason you would have McDonald's. Otherwise, I don't eat it. So, and I've been out now 2 years. So December 2019. So I don't know math, but yeah.
Is Subway
year and a half,
considered
2 years.
fast food?
I'm sure it is, but I don't eat it, first of all. And then secondly, I don't constitute that as fast food.
I mean,
It's
fast.
not what it is, you know? Like they're saying it's this and it's really not. Like
well, yeah, like their bread.
their
It's actually
bread-
considered what, candy or something
yeah,
ridiculous?
it's like a strand away from plastic. Yeah, it's a joke. But I'm like
the
I don't-
sugar content in their bread, they legally couldn't call it bread in Europe because there's so much sugar. Like, it doesn't correlate with the other breads. Like, their Italian herbs and cheese is like candy.
I mean, it's really good though.
It's very good. I was on a Subway kick for a while. I was almost going to call myself Jared. I was there like every third
Until he
day.
touched kids?
Yeah, without the kid touching.
Now we're bringing the kids back.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Dude, school bus. Tell us about school buses again. No, I mean, I can't be within 500 feet of a playground, but I would call myself Jared all the time because I was at Subway like 3 times a week.
So
It's so easy, and there's so many options, bro. Sweet onion chicken teriyaki is awesome.
I have a friend that would have that sub every day.
It's so good.
Once a day, every day for lunch. I'm like, that's insane. Like you're
Yeah.
spending so much money
Right.
for a sub. He's
$5
like, well, it's
foot long,
quick.
bro.
Anyways, not
It's
New
never
York.
$5.
No, of course not. And then you have sales tax in New York, which is like 76%. So you're fine.
Well, their $5 foot longs are like, here, you can get deli forest ham, and if you add cheese, it's $27. It's like, well, this is stupid.
Correct.
It's never going to be $5.
No.
It's terrible.
So speaking of kids and school buses,
Jesus.
Also, for those that don't know, if you are new here, welcome. I don't know if you're going to stick around, but Derek
Probably
is
not.
actually, in fact, allowed to be within 500 yards of a playground. That was a joke.
Thank you for clarifying.
We're moving on.
We're making that a clip, and we're not going to explain anything.
Worst things that
I
happened.
like how we haven't talked about the cameras yet, first of all, but keep going.
Yeah, worst things that's ever happened on a school bus that you were a witness of and or a part of throughout all K through 12. Because once we hit collage, we didn't take the bus.
So I was bullied when I was younger on a school bus.
Yes, me too.
Yeah,
Continue.
When did you hit your growth spurt? Because I was like a little kid.
I mean,
for a while.
like sophomore, junior year, but by the time sophomore and junior year hit, all that went away.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I mean, it was gradual growth every
Yeah.
year. It wasn't like a Jesus, like Mike came back 7 inches taller, like that. Yeah, that wasn't.
I think that I did, but anyway. So I was bullied by this kid named Lee. I still fucking remember you, dude. His name was I try not to swear.
Last
kid
names
really
don't-
bothered me.
Last names don't matter.
Yeah, last name don't matter. But he was so mean to me. My sister actually had to talk to him because he was in his grade. I'm almost positive. So
He
Jill,
was in
Jill
her
stepped
grade.
it up. Yeah.
Okay, so Autumn Leaf came to the rescue.
Yeah, she came to the rescue.
She whipped him with one of her tree branches.
No, I'm pretty sure she just had a conversation with him, and then he just never talked to me after that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like she came down like a mother. I mean, she basically was a mother to me growing up.
Right.
But yeah, so I remember getting bullied all the time by him on the school bus. But I mean, was your school bus kind of organized like the young kids sit in front, and then as you go back, it just got older, and like the seniors sat in the back of the bus?
Yeah.
Why? Why do you want to be in the back of the bus?
It's just chill, man. You're just away from all that.
Away from what though?
Everything. It's a whole dynamic. There's an ecosystem inside of a school bus.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
So what was the worst? So bullying was the worst thing that happened, dude. I was in car accidents.
Really?
We had tweaker wars.
What did we? We did get in a.
We used to burn the back of the seats with lighters.
Did we get in a car accident? I think that we did. But our big thing was we kept. So this was kind of funny. So we would always get substitute school bus drivers, which was better than substitute teachers. Substitute teachers get belittled all the time, but substitute school bus drivers get the brunt of everything.
Yep.
So there was this kid. We're driving around the corner, and there's a stop of this kid. He had a mullet, and it was so funny. I don't know why this is all coming back to me now, but he had a mullet, and we convinced the school bus driver he's on a different bus. So this kid's standing on the corner, the bus just like just blowing past him. It was hilarious. But so we had this route, and the bus driver that we had,
Hold on. Was the bus driver like, oh shit?
yeah,
And then come back?
no, we didn't tell her that he was on the bus until we got to school.
Did the kid make it to school?
I think his parents had to drive him. Yeah, he was younger, so like that was when I was probably in like 8th or 9th grade, and he was probably 5th grade, 6th grade.
Did you ever
or
tell
something
the
like that.
substitute bus driver that the kid would get dropped off at a different mailbox? It wasn't actually his house, so you'd make people like walk blocks to get
No.
home. We would do that all the time. We're like, oh yeah, he gets off here. And they go, okay. And the kid would be like, ah, seriously? And then the bus would pull away, and we just sit there and knock on the windows and laugh at him, and then you have to walk like a mile.
Oh, it's so funny, dude. School buses were the best. So we had this. Our school bus driver, first of all, he was so out of it all the time, and he had this crazy smoker's cough every single. It would be like this crazy smoke, and he would do it like 26 times during a 5-minute span of the bus. You're gonna throw up. You're laughing so hard. But we had this path for our school bus that it went down this hill, and then it went back up a hill. But this bottom of the hill had like 2 small bumps in it, but nothing crazy. Like if you're driving in your car, you probably wouldn't even notice. And we would tell him to floor it all the time. And then you would just go, and you would bounce so high, your head would hit the actual top of the bus. And you would want to get the wheel spot too, like the little hump area. You would want to get there because that's where all the suspension really gets you going. And you would just start flying. Everybody would have
You would double
seatbelts
jump.
off.
Yeah, you would double jump.
Yeah, it was the best.
Oh
it's like
my
a
God.
trampoline, popcorn.
Dude, we had a kid who thought he was like a cool kid because I've already started.
Nailed it.
So he already had let's take a small sip. He had a tweaker inside of his book bag. So if you don't know what a tweaker is, it's basically a flashcard and you fold it in half but it's a sliver of one, not an entire flashcard. Then you would wrap it with like a paper clip, and then you would use a rubber band, and you would literally like release them and shoot people with tweakers, and it was super painful. Well, he had one. So he shot my buddy, and my buddy was a massive troublemaker. Like, he got kicked out of the high school to go to like the other school because he was like behavioral issues. Yeah. So he was just a mess. So he gets hit, and he's like, ah! So he screams like Cartman. He's like, what the F? And obviously he says it. Yeah. So the bus driver's like, watch your mouth. So, and she was our bus driver from like first grade until graduation. So she grew up with us. And I'm like, God bless. Like, she was like our mom. So all of a sudden he goes, oh yeah, you hit me with a tweaker? He's like, prepare for war. And he opens his book bag.
Was he Asian?
No, that's just what he yells. True stories. Honest to God. Opens his book bag, and there's like 700 tweakers inside of his book bag, because that's all he did all day was just make tweakers. So he reaches into his book bag, and it's just like Elf throwing snowballs, and he's just blasting this kid.
Just rapid fire?
Yeah, just rapid fire. And so I'm dying laughing. I thought it was hysterical, because I was like, that's what you get, man. Like, you don't walk into a firefight with one round. Like, right. I don't know what to tell you. So he's just getting obliterated, just peppered. Well, one careens off the window and then hits our bus driver, and she goes ballistic. Bus gets pulled over, loudspeakers on, going off. She's like, what hit me? So she's super pissed. So all of a sudden we're like, whoa. So now we're all just like ducks in a row. Like, where I was so scared I put my seatbelt on. You never put your seatbelt on in public school. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, like, we're going to get whipped. So the two kids end up getting pulled off, and then they get like counseled, like talked to sternly. They get back on the bus, and then she sees smoke in the back, so she's like, what's going on in the back of the bus? So she walks all the way to the back, and there was another kid who had a lighter, because, you know, ripping cigs was sick in early 2010, late 09, and he would turn the lighter, heat up the metal lip, and then press it into the seat, and then make a little smiley face. Yeah. Remember that?
Oh yeah, people did that all the time.
Yeah, so it was just burning the back of the seat. I don't know. Why did people paint their nails, Derek?
Right.
So
people would draw. Would anybody draw on the seats too?
Oh,
it was
goodness.
Like Graffiti Central.
So he burns the back of the seat, and I never seen that before. So I was like, what is that? So then I was like, oh, like that's what that mark is? Like, that makes sense. I seen the mark, I just never saw the act.
Right.
So then I asked my stepmom, I'm like, this happened on the bus, and she goes, oh, that's nothing. We would pick up all the BOCE kids, and they had tools. Well, the one kid unscrewed the seat in the back of the bus and kicked it out of the back door of the bus while I was driving on transit, because she went to Lancaster.
Oh my God.
And this is like 70s, 80s time frames, so they're throwing seats out of the bus on Transit Road, and I thought that was the funniest thing in the history of the world, because I'm like, 15, 16, crying. I'm like, oh my God, like I thought we were bad, like burning seats. She's like, no, burning seats, we call that a Tuesday. Like,
yeah, really.
We're throwing seats.
Did you ever open the emergency exit stuff?
Everybody did. Everybody would pull the handle and that like real high pitch. Oh my goodness, man, we had so many stories. All right, so you all are seeing us for the first time.
They're such an underestimated profession. They get paid dirt. They're responsible for 20, 30 kids.
The whole reason this came up was because a bus driver was recently arrested for DUI while working.
Yeah.
So I saw that news alert, and it just brought back all the memories of the horrid things that we would do to substitute bus drivers. Our bus driver.
Did you ever think that your bus driver did have alcohol, or no? Or was that just...
We knew she made jokes about drinking, but it was always like, you guys just make me want to go home and drink. It was that kind of a comment.
See, I feel like everybody thought their bus driver was drunk at some point, too. It's just one of the things that you did as a kid. We had... Getting down to like what we've actually experienced as children, we're all the same. Everybody had the same experiences for the most part.
Yeah.
Like everybody had a crazy bus driver. Everybody did stuff to torment them.
Yep.
And I think, at least where I went to school, everybody thought their bus driver was drunk, which 90% of them probably were.
Dude, times were different, man.
It was.
I miss it. Times were different. But anyways, everybody's actually seeing us for the first time with no blur. So we should probably tell them what's going on. So we did a thing, probably I would say fairly confidently, a little early, but we did it. We got new cameras. We got two. So one for me, one for him. If you're seeing us in a better picture quality. I'm sorry to disappoint you in our unattractiveness, but this is the world we live in. So
All of
welcome
our
to
blemishes.
reality. Yeah. So
Yeah, before it was like we purposely pixelated our face so people wouldn't have to see us.
Slight
Like,
blur.
we put just like a blur over our face. It was
fine.
atrocious back then.
everything's fine. So
Oh, the good old days. We've made it, Mike.
yeah, so we got new cameras. They are Sony's. They're super nice. We're excited about it. And the reason why is because we are doing a lot of other content things, meaning there's more recording opportunities for Derek and I to basically come out and produce better and more interesting content for y'all. So if you're excited about that, let us know, because we are, and whether you like it or not, it's going to be produced and uploaded, so deal with it. But we're fired up. So we're doing a lot with 3Chord, and in that, we wanted to ensure that we weren't doing them a disservice because we're recording with them, and we also, may or may not wanted to be showed up just because we are the podcast, so we
Right.
didn't want a whiskey distillery to have, potentially better equipment in certain areas. So now we're here.
Yeah.
We got a rolling TV production case,
Which
instead
is
of a
very
Pelican
intimidating
case.
to people, I guess.
Terrifying. And the new lights, everybody was like, what is going on with the lights? I'm like, don't worry about it. Then they see the studio and they're like, oh my God, these guys are like real. Trust me, we're still not real. But for some reason, we have this in 2 years, so we're just going to keep rolling with it and see what happens. But we're fired up.
Yeah.
So if you're thankful for the new cameras, I'm sure we're going to get comments. Thank God. And,
Right.
drop them, let us know. We're fired up. But yeah.
There were points in when like the Mesozoic era, when we had the terrible cameras, that we would just be blurred out for like
It was like
3
4
minutes
hours
straight.
ago.
Yeah, no, really. Back when we were peasants, yesterday, we would be blurred out for like an entire section of the podcast.
Yeah.
Like the camera just would not focus. And I was getting so mad every time we would edit. I'm like, dude, you can't even see who I am. I could be some other person just coming in here because it's just that atrocious. So these are really good cameras. They have a really good autofocusing capabilities, which hopefully you can see everything. But yeah, so like Mike was saying, we are doing a lot of stuff with 3Chord Bourbon now. One of our things that you and I talked about improving with our podcast is our Cocktail Tuesday, Cocktail Thursday sections. So what you and I have always wanted to do is take these Cocktail Tuesday and Cocktail Thursday posts and make them into a video to show people how to actually make these cocktails rather than just throwing out ingredients and saying, here, deal with it. So what we're doing now is we are working with 3Chord. We're going to be doing Cocktail Thursday, it's going to be 3Chord Thursday sipping sessions. I think that's what we're going to call it. So instead of us posting a Cocktail Thursday post, we're going to be posting videos of bartenders that 3Chord likes to work with making cocktails with 3Chord Bourbon. So it's going to be it's going to be more engaging for you guys to watch these cocktails being made. It's going to help 3Chord promote their product with different cocktails being made with their product. And it's just going to be a great opportunity for us to collaborate with other restaurants, bartenders, and 3Chord directly to bring up this whiskey scene that is surging throughout the country and should be surging in Buffalo soon.
The 3Chord?
Just whiskey in general.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. I
Yeah.
agree. So we're excited, man. So cheers to equipment, cheers to new opportunities, cheers to more work, more editing, and cheers to fantastic cocktails.
Yeah, and cheers to being bankrupt for the next 6 months. So
That's
cheers.
right. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Double tap for the boys. All right. Let's talk about what we're drinking.
Oh, yeah.
So, strange collaboration, 3Chord Bourbon. It's a straight bourbon finished in Pinot Noir barrels. The taste on this makes a lot of people more comfortable with trying it. And the reason we know that is because we've actually used this product in certain whiskey tasting events that we've done. Also, people see the wine finish barrel and they're immediately intrigued because a lot of people, specifically in our area, like two things: beer and wine. And the reason why they like wine is because they want to be fancy and bougie. And the reason why they like beer is because it's very comfortable. They know their tolerance level. They know what they like and what they don't like. And then also the craft beer market and experience boomed before the spirits and distilling avenue with whiskey in general in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So
Especially around our age group.
yeah, and it's just very, it's very natural to drink a beer, have a nice meal,
Yeah.
and then if you're going fancy, incorporate some wine. So with this, it kind of blends in two avenues and two different customer clienteles, which honestly work really well together. People that drink spirits are a certain clientele to a degree. There's this, like, the bikers who grew up drinking Jack and like the old number 7 label, that's that's a clientele. But then you also have the enthusiasts that love Kentucky, they love Tennessee, they love that resale market. And then there's the other enthusiasts that want to be pretentious and want to dive into what it is, how to make it, and bring up different tasting notes so that they can then basically flex on their other friends and be like, have you had this? I've had this. So bringing all of those people together with the wine community with this product makes a ton of sense from a business standpoint, but it's soft.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to rate this because we've had it, dude, multiple times, but we've never rated it. So I'm excited for that. But you got the specifics on proof and everything else.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about this, and there's actually a lot of comments and questions on the specific labeling that 3 Chord decided to go with. So their label, which we'll talk about when we actually rate this thing, but at the bottom they include a description of what it is. And the description says Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey finished in Pinot Noir barrels. So if you're a whiskey enthusiast and you're confused as to why they're calling it Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, when you're getting into classifications of whiskey, you have Kentucky straight bourbon, which means that it's been aged for at least 2 years in Kentucky. But there's a stipulation with bourbon that says you can't call it bourbon legally if it's aged in a second barrel that isn't an American New Char Oak barrel. So when people look at this, they say, how can 3 Chord put that it's a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey on there? Because you can't legally call it bourbon because it's been aged in Pinot Noir barrels. But as long as you include that verbiage in there stating that it's been aged, you can still call it that because before it was aged in the Pinot Noir barrels, it's considered a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. So when you're looking at this label, this tells you everything that you need to know, and it covers 3 Chord from a legal standpoint. So it says Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey finished in Pinot Noir barrels. That covers everything that it is. It covers the fact that it's still Kentucky bourbon, but giving you that extra detail to let you know that it's not legally called a bourbon because it has this other name down here. Just wanted to clarify that because there's a lot of questions, especially when you get into secondary maturation that aren't New Char Oak barrels, specifically with bourbon. So anyway, this is episode 90. Everybody, thank you very much for joining. This is at Addie's for $49.99.
$49.99.
Which, again, Mike is on a totally other level today.
Call that a deal.
Yeah, so what is cool about this is they kept this price point under $50. You and I have talked about that $50 threshold for some reason is as soon as you cross that, now you're into a completely different clientele. People won't spend $54.99. If it's $49.99 and they see that for there, they're more apt to spend the money on it. So a little company background. So the mash bill on this product, as well as their other products too, they remain pretty consistent when it comes to their mash bill for their bourbon at least. But their mash bill is 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley. The Strange Collaboration is a blend of Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, which is aged between 2 to 6 years, selected for low fusel oil content and a light body. This is finished for 3 months in Strange Family French Oak Pinot Noir casks and bottled at 99 proof. The result is a unique expression of bourbon, high proof, light body with a hint of Pinot Noir on the nose and finish. Perfect to be enjoyed neat or in a cocktail. So how this whole relationship really began between the 3 Chord team and the Strange Family Vineyard is Neil Giraldo, who is the founder of 3 Chord Bourbon. One of his good friends, Brian Strange, owns a vineyard, and it's called the Strange Family Vineyard. And their kids actually used to date a while ago. 3 Chord partnered with Strange Collaboration with a portion of all the sales of this Strange Collaboration bourbon going to the Johnny Strange Memorial Funds, which was created to help build skate parks. So there's a story behind Johnny Strange, which is kind of what ultimately formed this whole concept here. So Johnny Strange was an adventure seeker as he scaled each of the 7 summits. The dude was a boss. 7 summits. It's crazy. And what's cool about that is Johnny climbed the first of the summits when he was only 12 years old. I don't know what you were doing when you were 12 years old, but I was getting bullied on a bus by a kid named Lee. So he was 12 years old when he did the first summit, setting the world record for the youngest person to climb Mount Vinson in Antarctica. By the age of 17, he had climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, Mount Kazuko, probably destroyed that name. Mount Elbrus, Denali, Aconcagua, and Mount Everest. Next, Johnny completed the Adventures of the Grand Slam, which consists of climbing the 7 summits plus reaching the North and South Poles. Due to a new age restriction, Johnny will forever hold the record of being the youngest person to achieve the Grand Slam.
I'm not impressed. Continue.
Okay, nailed it. So I hope you feel really bad because Johnny passed away while base jumping when he was 24 years old. So with him being a thrill seeker, I don't know the specifics of what actually happened, but when he was base jumping, the parachute probably didn't
hit
deploy.
the ground.
And yeah, so he passed away when he was 24 years old. You can read more about this guy on johnnystrange.com, and that is JohnnyStrange.com. It's a really interesting website. It goes through a couple of videos of his accomplishments, and it also goes through the efforts that his family is taking to honor his name by doing the skate park donations, by doing all this other donations. It's a very good cause, which is awesome that 3 Chord decided to partner with them to, again, continue to promote that Strange Family Vineyard name while also creating some amazing bourbon. Whiskey. Sorry, it's not technically considered bourbon, but whiskey. So, yeah, this is great. And this bottle is sweating because it's pretty warm in here, and so am I.
I'm also warm, so let's rate this thing.
All right, so label branding. What are you giving it, friend?
I give it an A. It's not like it totally jumps off the shelf and blows your mind. However, the color of the spirit entices you because you realize, like, it's not light enough where when I look at it, I think it needs to be cut with an ice cube. But it's also intriguing enough that I want to pick it up off the shelf and walk away with it. So I do like the color scheme to it. I like the, like,
Burgundy, maroon type color, yeah.
Yep. So that makes me happy. But yeah, I'm a solid A. And they have an actual cork, so that bumps it up too.
Yeah, I like it. I like the A. It is definitely more red than other bourbons that you would find on the shelf.
Yes.
So that is cool. And then obviously with the Burgundy, I was going to point that out as well. So A sounds good. So this on the back says Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey finished in Pinot Noir barrels. Introducing Strange Collaboration, our unique bourbon blend finished in Pinot Noir barrels from the Strange Family Vineyards in Santa Rita Hills, California. Complex red fruit on the nose, cherry, currant, fresh strawberries, and raspberries. Flavors start with notes of Pinot Noir followed by oak, spice, and vanilla.
Perfect. So
Yep.
what's the point of rating it?
All right, so see you guys later. An alliance that embodies quality, respect, authenticity. A partnership that embraces family and friends. A collaboration that celebrates life. Distilled in Kentucky, perfectly tuned in Michigan. And then it has Neil Giraldo, his signature there, and then 3chordbourbon.com. Yeah, I like it. 99 proof, 49.5% alcohol, and this is batch number 9.
Number 9.
So A.
Right.
Sounds good.
That's it.
All right.
Nose. I wonder.
Well, I mean, there was some on the Glenlivet that were like, what do you mean pineapple? So some of this could be wrong.
Wrong.
Well, we're experiencing something different. That's the whole point of this podcast, man. Anybody can Google this. But we're whiskey stewards. We know what's going on.
Nose. Whatever the label said.
Nailed it. So Mike is no longer a co-host of the podcast. I will be finding somebody else.
Oh, perfect. Good luck finding somebody to do all the editing.
Even though I do all the editing. Anyway. So you're getting brown sugar.
I do get brown sugar. I do get cherry. And no, but for real, what else did I say?
Figure it out.
Listen,
You started making jokes, and now you got to figure it out yourself, bud.
I would say those two. That's what I'm
Yeah.
getting.
Brown sugar, cherry.
Yeah.
You're getting a little vanilla, I guess.
Sweating.
But yeah, so those two. All right, so I mean, I kind of really like the brown sugar and cherry nose. It's very inviting. It's
I do
sweet,
too.
but it's also like you're not drinking a traditional bourbon. So I'm gonna give this an A+. I like it, man. This is my favorite 3-chord product. One of them. Whiskey Drummers still takes the cake, but we too po to afford that.
Weepo. A+. I agree.
I agree.
Initial taste.
So cherry and brown sugar.
Initial taste is interesting. You do get a high hug. There is an oil content to this. It does cover your mouth. However, it makes you salivate. So there is a difference sometimes when you have a high oil content, what happens is, what happened was, it'll cover your mouth, and then it's very inviting because typically with a high oil content, they'll have that be followed up with a ton of honey, and that makes it super smooth. So that'll generally be followed up with like a lower hug. This is a higher hug, high oil salivation.
Yeah.
So for me, to cut the salivation, you want to swallow 2 to 3 times, but then you also just want to keep drinking it because you want that initial oil coat to not necessarily go away. But with the flavor profile behind it, you essentially just get like the soft, gentle notes of the wine, and then as the initial taste ends, you get the whiskey burn per se up front. So it's a the highest hug essentially, because the burn basically stays in your mouth. It really doesn't travel into your throat.
See, I get a little bit in the throat.
That's because you're weak.
My primary tasting note is actually raspberry. And the reason that this is so pronounced is because my favorite beer is 4 Mile Brewing's Raspberry Wheat. So I drink that regularly.
Dude, you
and
love that beer.
That raspberry flavor in that beer is the same thing that I'm getting from this bourbon. It is like this light raspberry, but raspberry juice, which is something that I haven't really tasted before.
Almost like a concentrate?
Minus the sugar, though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not getting a ton of sweetness from it. It's just that raspberry, I guess, skin, if you want to be really precise about it. But that raspberry skin flavor is what I'm tasting there. And it actually, I get what you're saying. Like, the alcohol does kind of get you in the mouth, but you can feel a little bit of a burn, for me at least, right in, like, the middle here. I would say that
in
this
the
is
initial
more of a
taste?
mid-hug. No, ending, know what I'm saying. Like,
we're not there
as
yet,
it
bro.
travels down, well, you started talking about burn, bro. So it's more like mid. We're such bros, first of all. But yeah, I get more of like a middle hug here.
Okay.
So,
okay.
I mean, I love 4 Mile Raspberry Wheat. You should probably give the rating because I'm going to be very biased here. I'm going to go A+.
I was going to go A.
Okay,
So A check mark.
Perfect.
There's zero scientific method to that. It's just, I don't know, whatever. Ending note.
Professor Wolf would be happy.
Correct. Ending note, I'm going with honey. And then I also was going to talk about how it settles into your chest and sternum and warms you up, but in a very inviting, nice way. It's not harsh. It's not going to like knock you down. It's smooth. So when you taste this, specifically when you taste it neat, you really don't want to cut this too much. I would say at most a drop with an eyedropper. 2 if you had a heavy pour, but otherwise you really don't need to cut this at all. Yeah. It's a great proof point, and it's inviting. And you know when I'm going honey, still get a little bit of cherry, but that's lingering from the initial taste.
Yeah.
But it's just a very nice, sweet, soft. It's just a gentle ending note.
Yeah. For me, I feel like this is very thick. And I don't think it's thick from oil either. It's just a very well-rounded, deep ending note that sticks with you, which kind of tricks you into making you think it's more viscous than it is. But it's just very, like, fulfilling, I guess, in the back.
I just feel like there's 2 levels. When you consume it, it creates so much salivation.
Salivation, not salvation. We're not starving over here.
All right. That when you actually swallow, you get both.
Yeah.
So you're getting 3 things. Your own spit, as great as that sounds, oil and honey, and then the actual whiskey.
Yeah.
And all of those together, it's pleasant.
Yeah.
As weird as that sounds, that's literally what's happening.
Yeah. On the end, I'm getting also a little bit more of like different dark fruits, kind of like a plum on the back end.
You know when you eat a plum and you have like that random purple spot, and then you have like the lighter orange tint to the plum? It's the purple spot that you would get from the plum, like dark plum and skin.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. And you know what? I'm going A check mark.
Yeah, I would go A+, so
Boom.
nailed it.
Final rating. Give it a countdown.
Getting a little oak, too. Sorry, just want to throw that in there.
Okay.
You are getting a little oak on the back end. All right, final countdown. Ready? 3, 2, 1. 93.
92.5.
I like
That's
that.
a good rating.
Yeah.
It's fitting. It does make sense. They're in like 20 plus states. So look them up. On their website, there's the map and you can see where they are available. Pick this up, try it, let us know what you think. I agree with you. This is our go-to outside of Whiskey Drummer, which we can't get just because it was a limited run in the first place, and then it was very expensive for our price point. But this is worth the buy. So pick it up. Let us know what you think. If you've had it before, let us know what you think in the bottom comments. And then, we're excited to share this with you guys as well.
Yeah.
So it's honestly a really good product just to have on your shelf, especially if people are coming over that are wine drinkers that have expressed interest in getting into whiskey. Give them a little dram of this, and then let them decide if they like it or not. But it will not go to waste.
And I'm pretty sure, based off of experience, don't quote me on this, but if you do add water in it, the whiskey notes get diluted, but the plum and the Pinot Noir get
enhanced. Sure.
Which, for whiskey enthusiasts, might not be the best idea, but for somebody like you were saying, that's a big wine connoisseur or whatever, and they want to get into this, that might be a good introductory step, because those pleasant wine, plum, raspberry, cherry, currant, dark fruit notes really get enhanced when you add water. So yeah, love this. But you know what this isn't going to be as good as?
Ours.
Tell them about it.
We made a whiskey with 3 chord. We've talked about it before. It is on track for being released this summer. If you are interested in a bottle, let us know. Reach out via DMs, emails, text if you have our numbers. If not, I don't know.
Get to know us and then have our number.
Get to our know us and then be in our circle. But anyways, our whiskey is 117 proof. It's 80-20. 80% of it is
cognac.
The cognac barrel, correct. And then 20% of it is the toasted barrel. So it's got like a buttered toast Henny taste that makes you want way more than what you poured. So that's being released June, July, August timeframe. So we're very excited for that. And we have our own label. We have our own QR code. We have basically a great working relationship with Addie's in Williamsville, a.k.a. Billville. So
they're more like our friends now at this point.
Yeah, so to buy a bottle, it's going to be there, and it is going to be the Buffalo Happy Hour single barrel / Addie's / 3 chord collaboration, and we're fired up for it. It's going to be fantastic, very exciting. When you pre-order, you do get a email and or a phone call from the liquor store that will then invite you to, some exclusive things, i.e. a online Zoom tasting event with it, a release party if you pre-order, and that's
a hand-signed bottle from us, too.
And a hand-signed bottle from us. So if you're into that and you want to be a part of it, please let us know. We already have 35.
We haven't even announced it yet as of right now.
35 bottles are already pre-sold out of 120 bottles. So if you're interested, please let us know as soon as possible so we can add you to our spreadsheet. Let us know if you want 1 bottle, 2 bottle, 3 bottle, 4 bottle, whatever you want. Let us know. Just don't buy like more than, I don't know, I'd say like 5, just so that we can spread the wealth and make sure that everybody can enjoy
they can buy
it.
as many as they want.
We'll talk about it.
So this is, like Mike was saying, there's only 120 bottles. We're not ordering more of this. So if you don't get your hands on this, sorry. But we'll do more single barrels in the future with other companies and other distilleries in the local area or even outside of the local area, just because that's kind of where our passion lies.
Yes.
So if you don't get in on this one, don't feel bad, because there will be more in the future. But if you do really want something from 3 Chord, from us, in our first run, then I would say get in as soon as possible, because they will be running out very quickly. By the time this episode releases, we actually just posted about the 3 Chord bottle on yesterday. So we're releasing the actual announcement on a Sunday, and this is going live on Monday. So if you do want a bottle, comment on that post or send us a DM, like Mike was saying, or text us if you're close with us. But it's gonna just be announced with this. So please get your hands on it. Please look at ordering from us, and there's a lot to come with Addie's and with 3 Chord in the future. So stay tuned.
We do have a Google spreadsheet that's already established.
Oh, yeah.
So if you do reach out, you're basically going right onto the spreadsheet. The only thing we're going to ask for is an email and or phone number. and or both to make sure that the liquor store can contact you to make sure that you're good to go. We're not going to share any of your information or anything crazy. We just want to make sure that you're good for the release party and the tasting event, essentially.
Right.
So that's it.
I missed 30 minutes, so I put it on 41. And then now this is 45, so drink up, son.
I'm out.
Dude, you destroyed that. You had like 14 ounces.
What do you want? What do you want? What do you want?
I don't know.
What do you want?
I want a pony.
I'm Irish.
I want, yeah.
I'm Irish, man. And it's good.
I hear you.
So 45 minutes in. How are we doing on subscribed versus not subscribed? Do you know? Can you pull that up? Because I don't understand how we have listeners that listen every single week but don't subscribe. It's free. Literally costs nothing. What's the big deal? Also, if you work in a morgue, don't ask your virgin wife to sit in a bathtub for 20 minutes.
It's true.
In ice.
All right, so
Consummate your marriage.
unfortunately for our watch time from subscribers to not subscribers, we're going up of not subscribers. Now we're at 72.6% of people are not subscribed.
76%?
72.6.
72.6.
Which last time I'm pretty sure it was only 70. So we're going up. People are watching this video and they're not subscribed.
Perfect. Thanks.
Do you actively, are you a YouTube watcher?
Am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you subscribe to all the content that you look at?
If it's worth subscribing to.
Well, what makes us worth subscribing to?
What makes us worth... Okay, first of all, we're two dudes that are super down to earth and extremely relatable to you. Third, we're just very... Listen, this is not all we do. We have full-time jobs. We have wives. We have houses and homeowner responsibilities. Like, this is a passion for us. So if you relate to that and you just appreciate the grind that we put forth every day to make content for you, subscribe. However, our main focus is small businesses in and around Buffalo. And with that, it branched from whiskeys and distilleries, which is how we started, into doing any and every small business imaginable, from apparel to ice cream to coffee to restaurants to bars, you name it. So if you're into that and you want to see what we've interviewed before, if you've ever moved away from Buffalo and want to stay in touch with what's happening in Buffalo, subscribe. Just because then you're going to understand kind of more or less what's happening in Buffalo with the businesses from the business owners, not from us. We actually sit down with the business owners to hear their story. It's worth the listen. We also throw in the jokes where we literally make fun of ourselves the entire time, but we have fun doing it. And honestly, it's a hobby for us. So we're not making money. Like, we're not in it for all that. We don't want the fame. We don't want to be the next quote unquote Logan Paul. No free shout outs to that guy. But we're just having fun. So if you're into that, subscribe, like, comment, all that fun stuff. Help us out with the algorithm from Big Tech so we can send the fight to Big Tech. But that's it, man. I mean, we're two dudes that are just wanting to hang out, drink whiskey, and maintain a friendship post-college. Yeah. And now we're here 2 years later.
And the more subscribers, for some reason, people view our content, like people that we're going to interview.
It's a judge.
Yeah.
You judge.
People that we're going to interview look at our page and our subscriber count. And some of them, if they don't have the same mission statement as we do, which is just promoting small businesses and just being a collective business of Buffalo.
And don't charge for advertising.
Yeah, if they don't share that same image, they'll look at our subscriber count and be like, they're not even 300 subscribers yet. Like, we're not going to sit down and talk to them. It's going to be a waste of our time. And that is a perception that I don't want us to have, because we're not like that in general. Like, I don't care if you're a small business that's just starting out that literally has 2 customers. Come and talk to us, because chances are you know more about that than we do. Right. So we'll talk to you to get your word out. And that's the same with us. But for some reason, there's this stigma of people that don't have a ton of subscribers, don't know what they're talking about. So if you aren't subscribed and you do have a Gmail, just subscribe. It does help us for some reason with these businesses that maybe we might not be able to get into right now. When you and I first started, we reached out to a couple of businesses that blew us off, and now they're kind of coming back because we've proven that we're not going anywhere.
Right.
For some godforsaken reason, we're not going anywhere.
Right.
We keep doing this because we're extremely stubborn.
Way too stubborn.
Yeah.
But, so that's it. Yeah. The benefit, too, is our Instagram is doing well.
Oh, yeah.
So please, if anything, follow us on Instagram, just because you're not going to be bored. We post 6 days a week, and there's a lot of good content there. And then you can also track who's releasing on what days in regards to interviews. But a lot of businesses look at our Instagram as well and see like, oh, these guys are consistent. They do have a good following, and they're around, and they're here to stay. We're going to fight the good fight.
Yeah, and kind of like this is kind of going to go off on a rant on big tech right now, but share our posts because we learned that Facebook doesn't share our posts when there's a YouTube link in it because of the conflict of interest, because Facebook doesn't want to promote a post and to share it to people because it then would redirect people from their site. No one's leaving Facebook, man. Facebook's the most popular social media platform basically ever, and they own Instagram.
You know, Mark is Mark. You know?
So when we post a link to an interview to say like, hey, click this, which anyway, first of all, Facebook is our primary source of YouTube views. It organizes the analytics. I'm a nerd, but it organizes analytics and says that top is external and top external is Facebook. So Facebook is really where we make our bread and butter.
Yeah.
AKA don't make anything because we still don't make anything from this.
Correct. We're still in the breadline waiting for a loaf.
But it kind of goes back to your salvation comment. So if you can share our posts, get the word out as organically as possible because Facebook isn't helping us at all because we're being redirected through this algorithm, because Facebook wants everybody to stay on their site, which is just toxic in general.
Correct.
It's probably comments like this where Facebook isn't promoting us.
What are you going to do?
But I don't know, man. What else is going on? What do we have coming up? We have a realtor interview releasing next week. And this week, we actually have a barber interview releasing.
Yes.
Which are two businesses we haven't interviewed before.
No.
How were those experiences?
Amazing. They'd be better if I wasn't dying of sweat. But
yeah, this is a good day to bring out the 4K cameras.
Jeez, good Lord. But yeah, both businesses were great. Both industries are great and very fascinating and interesting to learn about. So if you are interested in that, please let us know. But yeah, I'm wrapping this up. So
sounds good.
Follow us on Buffalo Happy Hour 12 on Instagram. We are on Twitter, but we don't really use it because it's too toxic. Definitely follow us on YouTube and subscribe. Hit the bell, all that fun stuff. And we appreciate any and all support. Thank you guys. And we will see you next week for episode 91. And Derek, it's been a pleasure. Let's crank the AC and God bless.
I just turned the AC on to do a little test because nobody is tuning in up until now.
3 people are. We put so much insulation inside this room because we're in Buffalo and we didn't want to freeze, and now we're dying. It's fine.
Do you think it's going to be cold, though?
Shut up, Derek. It's not going to be cold.
All right, so everybody, thank you very much for joining. This is episode 89 of the Buffalo Happy Hour podcast. And please remember, if you are picking this up, 90. If you are picking up this bottle from Addie's Wine and Spirits, it's $49.99. But if you do, it's very delicious. So please remember to drink responsibly, be a good person. And Michael,
do not litter.
We're out.